Ay, ay, ay. Oh my God, what is happening? Hold on here. Ah, what? My computer is being crazy. Hold on. Sorry about that. I hope you can hear me. I stepped on my power cord for the computer. Good morning, Karen. And then suddenly the whole computer went off. I was like, oh crap, this is like it just went live and I stepped on the thing. So stupid. Anyways, welcome. Thanks for putting up with the crazy. It's how it is, isn't it? It's one of those mornings, but at least it is, I believe, Friday. Woohoo! Wonderful, wonderful. Come on in, come on in. We are live in the Meditation for Female Physician group, Path to Meditation Mastery, and YouTube. So thrilled to have you here this morning. If you are here live, please say hello and good morning in the comments. If you are watching on the replay, please put hashtag replay and put your takeaways. Your guys' takeaways are so amazing. And when you write it down, right, if you just take a second, 10 seconds to just write it down, it not only anchors it in for you, but it also anchors it in for everyone else. Can you hear me? Because I have my earphones in and I don't know. I'm hoping you can. I think you would have told me by now if you couldn't. So we're just going to keep going. Yes? Okay. Yes, perfect. Thank you, Delia. Perfect. So anyways, wanted to share another patient story today. Oh, for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. I'm Dr. Disha Phillip, cardiologist who deals with all matters of the heart. Yes, I do. And the founder of the Path to Meditation Mastery, where we really do a little bit more of a deep dive. It's your one-stop shop. If you have been spinning your wheels, going all over the place to figure out how to meditate, we do it at the Path to Meditation Mastery, and you get a really personalized experience and really dive deep into all the details of meditation, why we do it, what we talk about soul consciousness and the software of the soul. And really, I got the download last fall that I need to create a group for female physicians. And I'll tell you, I'll be honest, I was a little, I didn't like it. I was a little resistant to the idea of creating a meditation for female physician group because I was like, no one's into that. I was in the closet. Good morning, Rebecca. And I was a little bit in the closet, because I don't know a lot of female physicians who are into meditation. In medicine, there's not, and I'm not saying that meditation is woo because it's not woo, but there's not a lot of woo in Western medicine, and it can be seen and perceived in that way. However, in 2013, Rebecca reminded me because she knows the story. I went to a cardiometabolic conference at Harvard. And one of the speakers was going through all the alternative therapies that help, help like decrease mortality. Everything in cardiology is about, does it decrease mortality? Then we'll do it, right? Like beta blockers and ACE inhibitors and all this stuff, right? Does it decrease mortality? If it doesn't decrease mortality, then Now, anyways, so you guys know about that. And so in cardiology, that's a big thing. And so what were the things in alternative practices that really moved the needle scientifically that has statistical significance? And this guy went through like a huge meta-analysis of like chiropractic care, acupuncture, meditation, yoga, mindfulness practice. And really the only thing that had statistical significance was meditation. And that really piqued my interest. And I was like, I'm going to keep that in my back pocket. That's very interesting, because at the same time I was noticing that patients would come and be like, I don't want to be on all these meds and I don't want to take more than I have to. And I really don't want to do it. Isn't there something else? And I was like, well, yeah, there's this meditation thing, but I didn't know anything about it. And then, of course, many of you know my story about how life got crazy. And I started like really the stress just packed on and piled on with nursing two babies or nursing one baby, sleep training the other one, working 70 hours a week, husband's trying to build a business. The Tasmanian devil was running the show. And it got to a point where, it was showing, my clinic manager came into my office, closed the door behind him and was just like, Doc, what is going on with you? You look like your mind is going a million miles a minute. And I was like, whoa! So they found me out. I thought I was hiding it well, but I guess I wasn't. But it was cool. I came home and told my husband, this is what had happened. He handed me my breast pump and said, I booked you a hotel room. You're going to go get 8 hours of sleep, take your pump, and go to your 7 a.m. meeting after that. You need a full night's rest. And that was the beginning of my self-care journey, actually. Like, okay, I need to sleep. My life is not going to be getting easier. And the stress all around me is not going to change. And I've got to either figure this out on how I'm going to navigate and survive this and be a role model for my children. Because I always wanted to be a mom. Why did I want to be a mom? Why did you guys want to be moms or dads? Like, why? Put it in the comments why you wanted to become a parent. I think for me, it was this, I knew that I really, really wanted to give love, like that unconditional love that I don't think I necessarily felt growing up in my household. Just, it's just what it was. And I really wanted to be a guide for children. And so they could feel that love. And I think that we intuitively know as souls that what we give comes back to us. And as we give love, we get it in return because we are essentially beings of love. So, but I was not, I was, kind of falling apart at the seams because of all the stress around us. And so this actually brings me to our message for today in my calendar, July 15th. The first step towards conquering stress is to accept that it is created not by external events, but by how I deal with those events. Oh, yes. I love my niece and nephew so much. I wanted to be a mom. How beautiful. That's so awesome. My sister loves my daughter so much too. And my niece and nephew, my brother's kids. And we always say she's their second mama, so it's so special. And even with some of my friends' kids, my best friend Mimi, like her kids, Disha mommy, that's who I am, Disha mommy. And it's such a special connection. It really is. And but bringing us back to this, the first step towards conquering stress is to accept that it is created not by external events, but how I deal with those events. So that brings me to a patient story from yesterday. It's amazing how like everything we talk about, I see in the office every day. And this is why I'm doing this, right? Because I think all of you probably see it and recognize it too in the office. So I had a lady, another one, let's see, 42-year-old lady, or 42-year-old lady came to me because she had atrial fibrillation. And I was like, oh, she's got to have sleep apnea. She didn't have sleep apnea. And, heart's fluttering. She can totally feel it. She goes in and out of it, really affecting her quality of life. And so we ended up doing an ablation for her. And so she was coming in to see me for follow-up. And she says, I'm like, how are you doing? I mean, she literally just had it a few weeks ago, beginning of July. And she says, I'm actually doing really well. I haven't felt it. She's like, but, full disclosure, she's like, I just started my first, for the last 3 days, I went to my primary and told her I needed something because I'm really stressed out. And so she gave me Wellbutrin or bupropion. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, what's going on? Because here's the thing. I know that bupropion and Wellbutrin can cause tachycardia, right? So I mean, of course I want to know what's going on, but the issue is that we just got her out of AFib and now she's taking something that's totally going to, could put her at risk for it starting all back over again. And I really want her insides to be very calm and very, the heart reacts and responds to everything, your stress hormones, your cortisol, your epinephrine, right? All of that stuff. We know this as physicians. And so I'm thinking, crap, well, this is what she started taking 3 days ago. It's just a matter of time before her heart starts racing again. So I'm like, what's going on? Right? And she's like, well, my husband was just caught with another woman at work and now he's on probation. And I was like, okay. I was like, whoa. And she's like, yeah. She's like, it's crazy. And I'm like, is he gambling too? Because I had another patient whose husband was gambling. And she's like, no. I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, this is the second or third time that this has happened. And before I was really gracious. And he actually looked to me and said, you know what, it's your fault because you don't do this for me and you don't do that for me and you don't clean up for me. And, the house is a mess and blah, 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 whatever. And so she's like, so I tried to change myself. I thought it was all my fault that he went and he saw, like he had an affair and because it was my fault. And she's like, and now he's saying that he's got an addiction, right? And he's got this sex addiction, right? And she's like, and I'm just like so stressed. And I have a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old or something. And I was like, okay. I was like, do the kids know? And she's like, my daughter knows. And I was like, okay. And I was like, I'm like, how's she doing? And she's like, she's like, surprisingly, she's not that mad. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, okay, so what's happening? She's like, well, I kicked him out of the house. I'm like, okay. And so, we were taught, I was like, okay. So I'm like, is the Wellbutrin going to make your husband faithful all of a sudden? And she's like, no. I'm like, okay. I'm like, so that's okay. So it's not going to take care of the stress. And we had talked about, do you have a spiritual practice? Do you do any mindfulness breathing? Do you do any meditation? Do you do anything? And she was like, no, I don't. And I'm like, okay. I said, so here's the thing. Crap is going to be thrown at us at every second, at every moment. It's just in different flavors. They're just scenes of the drama, right? For some people, it's my kid is on drugs. I don't know what to do. For another person, it's my husband's having an affair. For another person, my kid's having gender identity issues. For another person, I'm in the sandwich generation, taking care of my elderly, demented parents, right? And also trying to raise young kids and trying to keep a full-time job and trying to be a wife, right? All these different roles. And it's not that I don't have compassion for it. I totally do. And the pill is not the answer. The alcohol is not the answer. The gambling is not the answer. The cookie is not the answer, right? I'm like, it's all the same, right? It's all the same. I'm like, whether he goes to having a sex addiction or you go to the pantry for the Oreos, we're all trying to ease a discomfort that we have inside of ourselves. Who can relate, right? Who can relate a little bit? That I feel discomfort, and so I go get a piece of chocolate, right? Or whatever else it may be. A few patients later, yep, right? So a few patients later, I had my lady who had all but quit her cigarettes, but she had 3 cigarettes a day because her partner stressed her out. And so her habitual response was to go outside, right? Yes. Hello, Facebook user. Yes. And so her habitual response was to go outside and smoke a cigarette. And so we went through, I taught her in the office of 4-2-8 breathing about, what? Her husband has mental illness. And so it is absolutely stressful, right? And so he's not always very kind and tries to be very controlling, but he's also somebody who tried to hurt himself, which is also tragic in itself. But at the same time, we know that there is a degree, right? There's a degree as physicians, we know that, when somebody's trying to hurt themselves and take their life, right? There's a degree of mental illness there. And so it's important that we don't, like, you can't make sense of crazy, right? And it's not that we just label them as crazy, but it's important to know who is the one who has the clear thinking going on, and not to follow their lead or take their advice, right? Because that person, that soul needs a ton of help. And so, I was telling this other patient, like, remember, you can't, I'm like, you're the one with the head on, you're the only one in your family who has a good head on her shoulders. So don't let the crazy around you lead you down a path that sabotages yourself, because all of these people need you and you need you. I'm like, you're the warrior of this family. You're the one who's keeping everything together. And so don't allow that. Don't allow the situations outside of you for you to sabotage your own health, whether it's through a cigarette, whether it's through Wellbutrin, or whatever it is, right? And so how can we, and maybe this is a tall order, and it is, and I'm not going to BS you, it is a tall order. What we're talking about here is being able to be unshakable in the storm of the crazy life that's going around there, right? Going on around us, to recognize that the first step towards conquering stress is just to accept that it is not created by external events, but by how I deal with those events. Two people can be going through seemingly the exact same situation, and they can deal with it completely differently, right? And what is our perception? And if we waste time in feelings of, I can't believe he did this to me, I had to look at my 41-year-old and say, listen, this has nothing to do with you or your worthiness as a wife, as a woman, as a mother, as a human. I'm like, your husband's actions has nothing to do with you. And I actually did give her the information for one of our Rebecca, myself, Amy, our mentors, Stacey Martino, for relationship transformation. And because it's so important that when we are in relationship and we are thinking about disconnecting that relationship, when we have also children involved, the thing that I pointed out to her is like, look, you are going to be connected to this human forever, whether you like it or not. And so somehow this has to be healed. And it takes a long time, and it takes steps to do that, to get to a place where you can have compassionate love and understanding for your partner, and be able to be friends, and be able to be in the same room for graduations and weddings, and it be okay, right? And for there still to be a loving atmosphere. And it's never wrong to love anyone. It is never wrong to love anyone. Doesn't mean you have to live with them. Doesn't mean you have to, share a bank account with them. Doesn't mean that you have to, all of those things. But the love is never wrong, ever. And for those children, right, it's important for them to know that they have nothing to do with whatever it is that's going on with the parents as well, that they are still beings of love, that you're still a family no matter what. And nothing's going to change that. And life stress is happening, and we're going to navigate it together from a place of love, and not hurt and resentment and anger. When you take actions from a place of hurt, resentment, anger, nothing good will come of it. So yes, crap is being thrown at every single one of us. We are all navigating it. How can we remember our truth of who we are? Spiritual beings having a human experience. These are all human experiences. And when we look at it from that perspective, be like, okay, this is what the next scene of the drama is. How can I stay in my truth? How can I stay in a place of self-love? What is the most loving act for myself? Not how can I make him pay, but what is the most loving act I can take for myself? Because if I take loving action for myself, that love will radiate out to all those around me, including my children. All right. And this brings us what we talk about in the Path to Meditation Mastery, Friday's Law, which is the law of detachment, which is so important. Allow yourself and others the freedom to be who they are. And maybe the most loving thing to do is to say, I release you with love in my heart. And I give you the freedom. You have freedom to be who you are. And I have freedom to be who I need to be, right? Who I want to be. Do not force solutions. Allow them to spontaneously emerge. Uncertainty is essential in your path to freedom. When we are connected to our true, authentic identity as beings of love and light, solutions do spontaneously emerge. Because then we allow them to come in. We're not blocking it. We're not sitting in a tight resistance, right? This isn't happening. I can't believe he did this. Why would he do this to me? Why would he do these things? That's all resistance, right? Okay. This is a choice. Everybody lives in the consequences of the decisions and choices that they make. This is a decision and choice that you make. What can I do? What is the most loving thing I can do for myself? And then you allow the solutions to emerge. And so we meditate, okay? We get into the vibration of allowing, and the solution comes. But we have to practice it. When we haven't practiced this, uncertainty is essential on your path to freedom deeper. Every time I hear it. Absolutely, Rebecca. So let's give ourselves a little bit of space and practice the allowing. So close your eyes. Just get comfortable wherever you are sitting. And you know what? If closing your eyes is not comfortable for you, you can always just kind of look down. Just kind of pull the shades a little bit. It's okay. And visualize your heart in the center of your chest with 2 nostrils. And let's do that 4-8 breath. And as we do the 4-8 breath, remind yourself that you are a pure, peaceful being of love and light. And that is the being who is running your show. Take a deep breath in. Hold. Exhale. Breathe in to your heart. Hold it. And breathe out. And breathe in normally. And we'll silently ask ourselves the 4 soul questions. Question 1. Who am I? Who am I? Just be. I am the one using my ears to hear. I am the one who uses the eyes to see. Second question. What do I want? What is my soul's deepest desire? Allow anything at all to come to you in the form of a sensation, image, feeling, or thought. Third question. What is my purpose? How can I serve myself and others? Fourth question. What am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? Allow yourself to flood yourself with gratitude for everything, from toothpaste to toilet paper to the roof over your head, to being in this body, to experience life, to waking up to your true, authentic identity. To be grateful for choice, for knowing that you have freedom to choose your perspective. As we finish up, I'm going to pronounce 4 intentions. Just repeat them silently and release them into being. Joyful, energetic body. Joyful, energetic body. Loving, compassionate heart. Loving, compassionate heart. Reflective, alert mind. Reflective, alert mind. And lightness of being. Lightness of being. Continue to rest. When you're ready, you can slowly flutter open your eyes, wiggle your fingers and toes, give yourself a big stretch. You can bring your hands to heart center and give yourself a little bow of gratitude for bringing yourself here today, for a healthy breakfast for your mind, spirits, and then from there, actions for your body. And from this place of being recharged, let's give a blast of love and light energy out to all of our family, our friends, our community, our city, our state, our country, to all the countries on this planet, to every single brother and sister soul on this planet. And from there, we give a blast of that energy out into the universe. And from there, it gets boomeranged right back to us. I'll say namaste. The divine light in me sees and honors the divine light in you. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, everyone. I will see you back here Monday morning. Put your comments, takeaways in the comments below. If you're on YouTube, hit like, subscribe, and share. And I'm sending you all so much love. Mwah! Namaste.